Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Chap. Today we are reading the book Coming Back, The Science of Reincarnation, based on the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Chapter 6, The Logic of Reincarnation. Has it occurred to you that transmigration is an advanced explanation and justification of the evil of the world? If the evil we suffer are the results of sins committed in our past lives, we can bear them with resignation and hope that if in this one we strive towards virtue and future lives will be less affected. W. Somerset Maugham, The Razor's Edge. Two children are born at the same time on the same day. Parents of the first are wealthy and well educated and have anxiously waited the arrival of their firstborn for years. Their child, a boy, is bright, healthy, and attractive, with future full of promise. Surely, destiny has smiled upon him. The second child enters into an entire different world. He is born to a mother who was abandoned while pregnant. In her poverty, she feels little enthusiasm to rear a sickly new offspring. The road ahead is fraught with difficulties and hardships, and to rise above them will not be easy. The world is full of disparities like this, latent inequalities that often provoke questions. How could Providence be so unfair? How did George and Mary do to have their son born blind? They are good people. God is so unkind. The principle of reincarnation, however, allows us to view life with much broader perspective, from the standpoint of eternity. From the point of view, one belief lifetime is seen not as the beginning of our existence, but as nothing more than a flash in time, and we can understand that an apparently pious person who may be suffering greatly in reaping the effects of impious activities performed in the previous lives. With a broader vision of universal justice, we can see how each individual is alone responsible for its own karma. High actions are compared to seeds. Initially, they are performed or planted, and over the course of time, they are gradually fructify, realizing their resultant reaction. Such reactions may produce either suffering or enjoyment of the living being, and he may respond by either improving his character or by becoming increasingly animal like. In either the case, the laws of reincarnation operate impartially to award each living being with the destiny he has earned by the previous actions. A criminal chooses to enter prison by willful transgression of the law, but another man may be appointed to sit on the Supreme Court by the dint of his excellence of service. In the same way, the soul chooses its own destiny, including the selection of specific physical form, based on the past and present desire and actions. No one can truthfully lament, I didn't ask to be born. The scheme of repeated birth and death in the material world, man proposes and God disposes. Just as a person selects an automobile based on the personal driving needs and purchasing power, we ourselves determine by our own desires and action what kind of body material nature will arrange for us next. If a human being wastes this valuable form of life, which is meant only for self realization, by engaging solely in animal activities of eating, sleeping, sex, and bodily defense, God will allow us him to be placed in species with more facility for such sense pleasures, but without the disturbing inhabitations of and responsibilities experienced in human form. For example, a glutinous person who indiscriminates gorges himself on vast and varied qualities of victuals may be offered by material nature the body of a pig or a goat, a form which allows him to indiscriminately savor garbage and refuse. The liberal system of reward and punishment may appear shocking at first, but it is apparently equitable and compatible with conception of God as an all-compassionate being. For the living being to enjoy the sense gratification of his joys, he needs an appropriate body. For nature to place the living entity in the body he craves in the proper fulfillment of that individual desire. Another common misconception dispelled by the clear logic of reincarnation concerns religious dogma claiming that everything rests on our performance in this one lifetime only, warning that if we lead a vicious or immoral life, we will be condemned to eternal damnation in the darkest region of hell without prayer of emancipation. Understandably, sensitive God consciousness finds such system of ultimate justice far more demoniac than divine. Is it possible that a man can show mercy and compassion towards others, but God is incapable of such feelings? This doctrine portrays God as a heartless father who allows his children to be misled with witness their endless punishment and persecution. Such unreasonable teachings ignore the eternal bond of love that exists between God and his intimate expansions, the living entities. By definition, man is made in the image of God. God must possess all qualities to the highest degree of perfection. One of these qualities is mercy. The notion that after one brief life a human being can be cognized to suffer eternally in hell is not consistent with the conception of a supreme being possessing infinite mercy. Even an ordinary father would give his son more than one chance to make his life perfect. The Vedic literatures repeatedly extol the magnanimous nature of God. Krishna is even merciful to those who openly despise him, for he is situated within everyone's heart and giving all living beings the opportunity to realize their dreams and ambitions. Actually, Lord's mercy knows no end. Krishna is unlimitedly merciful, and his mercy is also causeless. We may not be deserving due to our sinful activities, but the Lord loves each and every living being so much that he repeatedly gives them opportunity to transcend the cycle of birth and death. Kunti Devi, a great devotee of Krishna, tells the Lord, "You are the supreme controller, without beginning and end, and in distributing your causeless mercy, you are equal to everyone." Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.28. If anyone, however, does remain forever away from home, it is not because of vagueness on the part of God, but because of the individual's own repeated choice. As Sir William Jones, who helped introduce Indian philosophy to Europe, who nearly 2 centuries ago, "I am no Hindu, but I hold the doctrine of the Hindu concerning a future state, reincarnation, to be incomparably more rational, more pious, and more likely to deter men from vice than the horrid opinions inculcated by Christians on punishments without end." According to the doctrine of reincarnation, God recognizes and preserves even a small amount of good done by an otherwise evil person. It is rare to see anyone who is 100% sinful. Therefore, if a living being makes some slight degree of spiritual progress in his present life, then in his next life he is allowed to continue from that point. The Lord tells his disciple Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, "In this endeavor, Krishna consciousness, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the greatest type of fear, returning in lower than human form in the next life." The soul may thus develop its inherent spiritual qualities through many lives until it no longer has to reincarnate in metal body, until it returns to its original home in the spiritual world. This is special benedictions of human life. However, if one is destined to suffer terribly or for impious acts performed in this and previous lives, one can, by taking up the process of Krishna consciousness, change his karma. The soul in a human body stands at evolutionary midpoint. From here, a living being can choose either degradation or liberation from reincarnation. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। All Guru Shishya